Mario, obviously, these with this adjustment of the policies here, and it also requires probably adjustment of individuals in terms of psychology, like better understanding of the new strain. Omicron is not as obviously it's much milder than the previous strain, and people probably need more information about the symptoms and how they can take care of themselves. So you think the public is ready in terms of this kind of shift?
In terms of whether or not the public is ready for the shift, and by the way, I agree with Andy, I use that word pivot. This is not the Fed, and we're not Jerome Powell. Pivot's not the right word. It's been a gradual shift, and that's the right word to describe it. And in terms of the public being part of that shift, my answer is yes. And why? Because we've had plenty of time along the way. The public is very aware of what the issues are. Nothing has been hidden from them. They've been able to get as much information as they need to understand that they also have to be responsible for their own protecting their own health, right? So, for example, I think as a population of people, 1.4 billion people in China now know not to use their fingertips to push anything, right? We've all developed new habits. We don't push elevator buttons or push doors with our fingertips anymore. I never touch anything when I'm pushing something with my fingertips, and it's a brand new habit. Well, guess what? It's a really good habit. And so I want to take that as an example, and I want to multiply it, because we are in a more traditional conservative society, I'll say it that way, overall, compared to, say, in Western neoliberal democracies. And what does that mean? The people are more willing to pay attention to those details. They're less willing to have this freewheeling kind of neoliberal attitude, which says, whatever, the virus, I'm not worried about that. Forget about that. I don't care about that. I don't need to wear a mask. No. You'll find very few people in China with that kind of thinking. So even now, when you say, there's no mask requirements, there's no testing requirements, well, guess what? Common sense prevails. And the vast majority of Chinese people are still going to be very willing to be responsible for their own health. And when I get in a crowded room, guess what? I'm thinking about putting on a mask, and I don't need anyone to badger me to do that. And I think that represents the majority of people here. The awareness is there. I was watching the press conference before the show, the live press conference that started at 3, and they talked about this, how there's an even bigger push for this health literacy. This is what they called it, the health literacy of the public. It's already quite high, and they're going to keep pushing on that. We all have to be responsible, and the shift is moving now from the government to the households to be responsible. I think we're in very good shape in that respect.